past the hour. Here with us now, former Chief of Staff for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Naftali Bennett. Very good to have you on the set with us today.
Good morning. Great to be here.
We brought in some reinforcements for Dan, who's been outnumbered for some time.
Unbelievable. 5 on 1, 6 on 1. You guys have to fly them in from abroad.
This is the American-Israeli alliance in action.
So talk about the Prime Minister's speech yesterday.
Well, I think this week we've made tremendous progress in the sense that Obama, for the first time, made clear that preventing an Iranian nuclear weaponized Iran is supreme national interest of America.
He says that he has Israel's back. Do you believe the president?
Well, the bad news is that words in Washington don't stop centrifuges in Natanz, because during this very week, Chief Inspector Amano, the UN inspector, reported that Iran has tripled the pace of production of 20% grade uranium. They're transferring their facilities underground to be immune. And they're racing towards acquiring a nuclear weapon. The words aren't going to stop them. The current sanction regime will not do the job.
Does this move your former boss, Prime Minister Netanyahu, one step closer to taking military action against Iran?
Well, there's still one last chance to avert an attack, and that's if America and the world immediately implements devastating sanctions that will bring Iran's regime to the brink of a collapse. That's the one thing that could prevent the need for an attack, but we're not there. The current sanctions, the most important of them, are only going to play in June. We ought not to be waiting for June. We should do it right now.
Dan Senor?
If those sanctions don't work, if diplomacy doesn't work, the clock could run out to the point that Israel doesn't have the military capability to conduct a successful strike against Iran and eliminate or substantially delay the nuclear program. Is there any precedent for an Israeli prime minister? Because at that point, by the way, it's in America's hands.
That's right.
Either America takes care of Iran or no one takes care of Iran. Is there any precedent for an Israeli prime minister to outsource that kind of decision-making to an American president about an issue of existential security for Israel?
Absolutely not. I think Israel's short history and the Jewish nation's long history taught us a very clear lesson. We have to depend on ourselves. While America is certainly our biggest and best friend, we cannot outsource our national security and our very existence to the United States. I'll just note, you were talking a lot about Syria. Israel allegedly in 2007 bombed Syria's nuclear reactor. If we hadn't done the job of the world back then, just imagine what it would be looking like right now if Assad, while he's on his way down, has 2 or 3 nuclear weapons. He'd use them. He's got nothing to lose. It's a win-win. Either you get the Syrian nation behind you, or if you're going to die, at least die proudly as the guy who destroyed the Jewish nation.
Naftali, there are many Americans who feel we're being slowly and now more quickly being led down the path to war by Israel in Iran. What would Israel expect of the United States from a military point of view? What kind of involvement would Israel want from the United States if you do decide to go ahead and strike sites inside Iran?
Let me be very clear. Israel has never in its history asked America to send troops to defend us. Never. We've asked for ammunition, financial support. Never, and we're not asking that right now. Moreover, it's quite the opposite. Israel is stepping up to the plate and defending the world. We did it in '81 in Iraq. We were condemned by the entire world, and then a decade later, everyone praised us. Same goes in Syria, where we allegedly took out the nuclear reactor. Everyone now is praising us. So no one's leading America down the path. Israel might have to step up to the plate, and yeah, we will need your cover, primarily paralyzing sanctions the day after, because we might be able to slow down Iran by 2 or 3 years, but it's got to be combined with paralyzing sanctions that will prevent Iran from recovering.
But this is not 1981, obviously. We're in 2012, and Iran is not Iraq.
That's right.
Do you have the technology to launch airstrikes that will actually denigrate their weapon systems enough to prevent development of a nuclear weapon in Iran?
Joe, the short answer is we can slow them down dramatically, but it has to be combined with sustained sanctions on Iran so they won't be able to recover. So an attack alone won't do the job. An attack combined with a very determined world to prevent them from recovering will do the job.
Okay, so you talked about crippling sanctions. Do you think President Obama has been aggressive enough in pushing for those crippling sanctions?
I think the current sanctions are way too slow, way too soft to stop Iran. There's no way that sanctions that are only going to go into play in June are going to stop Iran. Look, guys, this has been the crown jewel project of Iran for the past 15 years. They've invested billions of dollars, their own reputation, tremendous efforts. They're at the 99-yard line. They're not going to give up because of feeble sanctions, and that's what we're seeing right now. If the world wants to prevent the conflict, there is one way to do it. Immediately, today, apply devastating sanctions, paralyzing sanctions on Iran that just might bring their leaders to abandon the nuclear program.
Okay, so would your Prime Minister Netanyahu, agree to the following deal? We send Dan Senor to Israel, so we get him out of the U.S.
That's a great start.
Support.
But you need to come also.
Oh, Lord. Naftali Bennett, thank you so much. Morning, Joe.
Can I live in Tel Aviv?
Be right back.
I should do a show.